Go bid thy mistress, when my drink is ready, she strike upon the bell. Get thee to bed. Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest, I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one-half world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing sides, towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou sour and firm-set earth, hear not my steps, which they may walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time, which now suits with it, whiles I threat he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. Hello, everyone. Brian Jennings, the Millennial Dragon. Welcome to the channel. Lovely reading from the Scottish play, All the World's a Stage. So I don't say the name. I decided to make a second video just because it's the weekend, because I was thinking a lot, because, right, this channel is dedicated to discussing and processing my pathological relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I'm the reason he canceled the movie Critic, right? And he has been on a campaign to compel me to madness for over a year. And so, right, everything that he's done has been so that if and when I come clean, right, he can say, oh, see, look how sweet my little girl is, right? She's not a crusty bitch who gets pissed on. He's completely mad, right? And it's really just fucked up, you know? And I get it, sure, Pulp Fiction guy, right? But this channel is dedicated to discussing it, right? I live in perpetual anxiety that he has people watching me, right? Of course, number one, he has people remote viewing me constantly, forever, right? The things that I discussed in my previous video as far as his tactics, right? Really descending into black magic evil. No one takes those steps and is so fucking naive as to assume that you haven't earned an enemy forever. No, we're not friends. No. Right? And so my point being, right, is that it behooves him. Right? Not that I care about being evil in the way that he is, right? But I could take different steps that will fuck anybody up bad. Right? And I haven't built it yet because, right, that's a step, and he's a degenerate, right? So, right? It was a series of magnifying glasses and prisms, right? And so you build this box, right? I call it the Celestial Iron Maiden, right? And so it does the same things that he does, right? With the needles, right? But without actually being base in any way. Like that's a base evil stratagem, right? That's really saying, I don't care about ethics, I don't care about morality, right? I don't care about my children's immortal souls, right? And I guess I could have guessed that, that he involved his little girl in this thing, right? And so, right, what I'll say about that, so I can kratom on my shirt, is that, right, on some level it's done, and when I cursed, right, that witch that stole all my secrets at Clam, right, at Fish, right, it was under the assumption, because again, right, like I asked him, do you want me to go there and scream at the top of my lungs? And he said yes. And again, right, it's obvious, right, like, he's insane, right? Oh, it's good that he didn't give me what I wanted, because like, look how insane he is, right? Really base, right? It's a mind game, right? It's a mind game, and he never really knew how to play it, right, until me, right? And now he's, right? He's given me permission to destroy him, 100%. Right? He has given me, right? I always have divine authority, 100%. Right? But wisdom is a responsibility. Right? And just because you know how to do something doesn't mean that you should do something. Right? But he's done it more than once, over a dozen times now. Right? To traumatize me, right? To try to kill me. All these things. And he can go, oh, look, this guy's so insane, right? Right? And so in so doing, right, he's put everyone else in my laser beam too. Right? There's Ari Emanuel right there. Right? His wife's on the other side of that, right? Right? There's his agent. Right? That all of these are plasmatic vortexes of intention, right? And so you can conjure these in your mind. Right? Now, I choose to have ethics, right? And if I tried to, right? Olivia Wilde, right? Discussed and met with Quentin about the movie Critic. Right? That if I do these things, right? He's going to descend into evil and keep trying to give me diseases and traumatize me. Right? Because this is what he signed up for. This is like now, right? And I'd like to hope that the people around him are saying, this is just fucking weird now. Right? That it's not funny anymore. Right? That this guy's towering over all of us, and all we can do is be evil. Right? And so, in that way, I sent an email earlier today, and because I do everything in the light of day, we're gonna read it right here. Right? And this was sent to the New Beverly, right, as well as Vintage Cinemas, which is where I sent my first letters, 1822 North Vermont Avenue, as well as to Ari Emanuel, right, his agent, Mike Simpson, right, this guy, right, William Morris Endeavor, right, as well as Fish, right, as well as the Discovery Institute, as well as David Mamet, as well as Paul Schrader, right, as well as Francesca Scorsese, right, for her father, as well as the Tribeca Film Festival, right, as well as the Hollywood Reporter Scott Feinberg, right, as well as the Burbank International Film Festival. Regarding Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic, this email is not to Quentin. It's to everyone who answers to him. Everyone who sees him as someone to look up to. I am the actual reason he canceled the movie Critic. And he has been on a campaign to destroy me for some time. Newsflash, he'll lie. I know. Why would he admit he is a sick degenerate? If I have nothing to do with the movie Critic, then Quentin's conversation with Robert De Niro last June has nothing to do with me either. So why hasn't he released it? Attached are is a link to a couple of to attachments of links to a couple of videos on my YouTube channel. I only put one, but I invite whomever to watch them. They are the real story. 130,000 words doesn't just emerge out of madness. That's not how literature works. So when he looks you in the eye and says he has no idea what I'm talking about, that is a message that you should interpret as Quentin doesn't respect me and feels he doesn't have to be honest with me or, in truth, with anyone. He is a sad, dishonest man, co-leagued with that fine wife and whomever else spends their time with the two of them in devotion to the dark arts. Every time he speaks with anyone or does anything publicly, you should all be aware of the fact that he pays people to torture me because he went so far he has no choice but to watch me forever. As long as we do not reconcile, and we never will. He's a sad, weird guy. Everything I am talking about he sees as necessary, you see? That he tortured me so much that now he has to have someone watching over me forever, because if he slips and gives me the brevity to not worry, then I can make his life miserable as well. He wanted me to sue, now I never will. But my channel is picking up steam, and since he thought it was appropriate to destroy my mind and compel me to madness, I'm making it my business to destroy the reputations of anyone around him, because that's my right. It's his right to be evil. I cannot control what he does, but I can talk about it to the world and make sure the WME, as well as the New Beverly, as well as the Los Feliz 3, as well as Pam's Coffee, as well as the Church of Tarantino podcast, as well as the Burbank International Film Festival are held accountable. This isn't anything other than a disclaimer. You all, any of you, Fish, David Mamet, Paul Schrader, Martin Scorsese, Mike Simpson, Ari Emanuel, any and all of you, could have held him accountable and still can. But since you think our pathological relationship is worthy of no conscious effort or action from any of you, then it's my right to discuss it in the open air. And I will be uploading all of these emails onto my Substack in due time. It sickens me how all of you have just absconded with ethics, with heart, with integrity, and put all your eggs into Quentin's basket, never questioning where all of my words come from, how I can still have so much to say. And so now the theaters are in on the joke. The joke being, anyone who doesn't eat Quentin's psychic ass deserves to be destroyed. Just ask him about the screening of Jackie Brown. Just ask him. And when you see his eyes shift, and his gait become unsteady, and his breathing patterns undulate, then you'll know. If you watch this video and believe in any way anything that I claim in this or any of my videos is true, then every time you look him in the eye and don't hold him accountable, the specter of Harvey Weinstein lingers over you all. And what I mean by that is, everyone knew what he did for a long time. It was written into his contract. Sexual harassment payouts, And they all said, well, that's Harvey. I'm not the one doing these awful things. He pays the bills. What can you do? Well, that's Quentin. I'm not the one torturing Brian. He pays the bills. What can you do? I live in perpetual anxiety he's going to send people to kill me. And make no mistake, he watches me constantly. I am a psychic threat, you understand? He knows I can do all the same things. And so, I am letting you all know that any and all of you can hold him accountable and let me get some peace of mind by speaking in person to someone and resolving this amicably, so that I do not go through my life under the constant assumption that this powerful man seeks my life. I have no choice but to assume that. And if you read my novel, you would understand perfectly fine how serious it all is, and how ugly and evil he appears to be to me, and will remain so until I speak to those involved in a meaningful way. I do not ask for the world. What gives you all the understanding that it is better for us all to persist in this way? If we just persist, eventually my YouTube channel will pay me a good living. I will be famous without Quentin. I never needed him. And I will have the means, as well as the facility, to watch any and all of you in the same way he watches me, and I'll have to. And if it persists, and we just never speak to each other once I'm set financially, I have to also assume he will pay private investigators to actually watch me. And this condition is a pendulum. If Quentin is not a paranoid psychopath, then there is no reason we should not have already settled this thing. And as long as we persist in this way, he proves himself a dangerous, evil man. If he is using my scene, he should pay me a fair market value, including emotional distress. But if not, he need only make a statement acknowledging me, denouncing the dark arts and wishing me well. Or if he doesn't want to do that, WME can represent me and get my novel published. But I have to see something tangible. Or I continue with my channel reminding everyone who listens that everyone who has been in on these emails insulate an evil, dangerous man who has been seeking my life for going on 2 years with tactics he can always deny. And in front of the camera, that's one thing. But all of you see him in more intimate ways. And if he lies to all of you, he proves me right. I'll never stop talking about it. I have no incentive to be quiet. I tried, and he thought it was funny to continue traumatizing me, so we're talking about it every day. You all support in your own ways an evil practitioner. And now, every time you see him, know that he has people watching me constantly. That every time any of you interact with him, he has someone else in his Pulp Fiction sex dungeon Temple of Baphomet remote viewing me, and making sure I do not conspire to destroy him as he has tried to destroy me. Right? So, that's the email, right? Again, it's like Westboro Baptist, right? It's not about, right? It's not about doing anything, right? It's about letting them know, right? Westboro Baptist alleges that they are interested in denouncing, right, satanic occultism, right? Though they've never phrased it so eloquently, I know that they would, whomever the preacher is there. And so, every time I feel he's evil, I let them know, hey, here's someone, here's a couple of institutions that you could be picketing outside of because I'm living it. Right? And the same thing with everyone around him. You know, that his assistant, I think his one assistant is badass cinema, hot broad, like gold skin, great legs, right? Who conspired to give me AIDS. Right? But my point is that, right, there's people around him, right, who are oblivious, right? You just go on an oblivious fool, right? That they don't know. That they say, oh man, it's so great, I get to go to work every day and talk to Quentin Tarantino. What a cool, badass guy. Right? And so we all see the world through our lens, right? And in that way, right? But my point is that now, right? And so we're getting to that point in the novel, right? Where he essentially, you know, the novel ends just before he reveals to me that there is no daughter, right? And so as soon as he did that, as soon as he admitted that to me, right, that everything that he's been doing is all bullshit, right? Then it became obvious. Oh, you're just a sad, weird, evil guy. That's like, I see. This has all been a conspiracy to make me put a bullet in my mouth, right? Right? And he's giving me visions, right? It's very subtle, right? Oh, I have no idea what he's talking about. Oh, gosh, you know, it's all the same tactics, right? So here's cinema speculation, right? There's the autograph, right there, right? Right? All revealed. 1 second. In that book, right? Under the guise of Charles Manson, right? Anyone who's been in his films or who was in this film, I bet. I don't know if he's been. Right? They all, if they've read this book, they went, oh, how subtle and how clever Quentin is. Right? Cliff Booth is Brad Pitt. Right? Quentin Tarantino is Charles Manson. As far as the tactics, right? So he wanted me to question him about cinema speculation, right? After he felt that he had to cancel the film after I started reviewing movies in protest. Right? Right? With the Twitter handle, boycott the critic. Right? And so he spent those 2 months from the time that he canceled the film through Tribeca, right? Doing the same things that Charles Manson does to Pussycat in this novel, right? And then, right, when he stuck his nose up at my letter and turned his back on my letter, I said, no. This is bullshit. I'm not a show pony. Right now it's supposed to be different. Right now you're supposed to take my writing. Right now, you're like, because he hadn't been accepting it. Right? That he stopped accepting it when the press announced that Brad Pitt was playing the role, and he refused both of the letters that I sent him after he canceled the film. Right? And so I had my letter, boom, right there. Pushed it all the way up to his face. Right? And he didn't have to take it. All he had to do was look me in the eye and say, "What'd you think of the book? Got any questions?" And he would have got everything he wanted. Right? My point being that I'm not like any other fucking actor you ever knew. Right? And I was ashamed. I hated myself forever. I said, oh gosh, like he needed that. Right? And then when he saw my compassion, he said, oh no, this guy's weak. He doesn't understand what's occurring. I'll compel him to blow his brains out, and then I'll get his scene for free. That's what's been happening, right? And so after I didn't give him what he wanted, right, that's when the daughter came in, right? That's when, right? So Charles Manson guides Pussycat into that house in Pasadena, right? Quentin Tarantino tried to do the same thing to me while I was on the street in LA after Tribeca to get me arrested. So he'd go, ha, 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 that's what you get, motherfucker. Now I can point to your arrest record and say, see, look how crazy he is, and he failed, right? But the daughter emerged, right? And the campaign began through the same tactics that he told me he wanted me to question about cinema speculation through the same tactics that Charles Manson uses, right, to talk to Pussycat, right? So, we're reading through the novel. We're talking about the nature of reality. And I'll pick up where I left off, building a coven. Epilogue. My mind is running wild. I am considering much. I guess there is a part of me that even now, all these months in, still continues penetrating some part of her. That now it is different because it's backwards, which spiritually, psychologically, justifies Tribeca. To have gotten the role and then lost my heart like any other man in her life, it would have broken me all the worse. Though perhaps being high on the hog, having resources and money from conquering the film as it must be, would have made me complacent. My speculations are as wide as the horizon. However, now it is what it is. Always the same. Willow puts herself in front of a man whose mind always bends towards lechery upon seeing her, as did I, waiting outside of the theater. After giving him everything, she poisons his oblivious mind with hollow witchcraft, beguiling him into obsession and love, then departs, haw-hawing all the while watching him suffer. However, now it is different. Being an arrogant witch, bitch, whore, she thought she could possess my mind with these same hollow protestations without producing herself before me. She thinks I'm an asshole, like every other man in her life. In reverse orthodoxy, it is flawless, as long as she is physically beautiful. She gives everything external and consumes everything internal. She could have written and had me completely. It is telling she keeps me at broomstick's length. This is why I'm writing, because I'm not an asshole. And when I do something, any of the options available to me, she will reap what she sows. I don't know how implicit her father and stepmother are. The body count is high, I'm sure. I'm also sure all those guys are assholes. We're all members of the same club, though I'm the only one that knows it. The rest are lamenting what they did wrong, totally unaware they in fact did everything right by design. Her pleasure is masochistic. The end is always her leaving. It doesn't matter what you do. I've proven it. If love exists, I have offered countless examples of fidelity within me, and she refuses to see me. There is only one answer. Her gain is your psychological corruption. Willow Hoffman, manipulative witch whore, disgusting psychic hygiene, malevolence by exponential rates. I can remember while playing guitar on the pier, ranting about distinctions between the surface tension on the top of the ocean and the ocean itself. The tension is there. Bugs, certain kinds, can land on it. But it is the dermis, the most superficial layer. Still funny? Bitch? Still a fucking joke to you? You jerk me around, my heart, my dreams, my aspirations, my hopes, my trust, my gullibility and loving nature. I have no choice but to do everything I can towards balancing the scales, because this is no fucking joke. Magic jokes. Fucking hilarity. Visions of STDs every time I spread my legs 50 times a day. So funny. Sometimes I feel so connected that this thing, this quagmire we've poured, is as special as anything can be. Other times I feel I have been too good and now must suffer. I'll be good to you. I'm not a bitch, I hear. I am so much in love. I have no choice but to rage. She has made it strife, pure confusion. I am lost without her next to me. We have been apart too long. I worry we both see too much distance. The ugliness of it all. I don't care what she says. She saw Mark, someone sincere to beguile. Now my mind is diseased. What is a psychic or psychological truth? What is idea? Ideal? Where does wisdom reside? Was my Herculean effort worth something? Anything? Is intuition a lie? Is love malleable like molten iron? She is a psychic smith, hammering away on scalding molten love. Herein we find another apt metaphor. Now, with me, she has overheated the ore, wherein she offers, no physical tempering. Thereby the control evaporates as steam. She has no right to behave the way she does. She could have done anything different, and now I see, as we all do, that she poisoned the airwaves of Tribeca, blasting my headshot and psychic constitution with base sexual lust the entire screening. My headshot inches away from her face the entire time, sitting next to Alistair, who, as a result, did not feel comfortable taking my letter in the moment, because he knew Willow would run through me like she has any other man she let close. Say, Austin Cutler? Wonder what he has to say about her. I too could have been braver and barked like a dog, but on the most fundamental levels of magic, her action was in violation of what Alistair and I had prepared, and therefore forced the collapse for all these reasons and more. No such thing as whore high magic. In spite of it all, I believe in the idea of soulmates. We must be that. What that is, I mean. A pure connection. Total communion of mind and soul. Too much? No, we must come together. Until one of us is dead, the universe is awry as long as we remain separate. I have to have her, or I'm an asshole. Guess I am. I want to believe in Willow's love, but without seeing her, without sharing heartbeats in space and time. Is it not a lie? I don't know what love is if I am not in love now. If I hate her 99% of the time, is that still love? She need only produce herself, and I am lost in her big beautiful eyes. I am in love. I just want her here. It's enough. We have to come together. I am not the sick one in this formula. I don't spend my time obsessing over women and possessing them to love me, forcing my psychic pressure on making them think of me. This is base and puerile as far as magic is concerned. This is sorcery. She went out of her way to occupy my mind, and when I told her, nice to meet you, hit the fucking road, she begged me to love her, refused to let me alone, drove me into a passionate toil. A sick, weird cunt, a dumb bitch. She can make it right. A single act of strength, sincerity, to come to me, look me in the eye and say, I love you, I've always needed you, and embrace me. I dissolve. All my rage, all my fury, evaporated behind her smile, her gaze, her beauty. Some sick fantasy, I guess. Ha ha ha. High fucking comedy. What a joke love is. Look at this jackass. He does anything a bitch tells him to do. What an idiot. I'll stop there. The next paragraph is pretty funny. So, right, the joke being, right, that there is no daughter, right, that it was all a weird intellectual exercise, right, with Quentin and the people around him. Was it his wife, right? Do Daniela and I have this? Because it was a lot of time, right? Right? I didn't spend like one day with his fake daughter. Right? I spent like 5 months, every night. Which is to say, it was him, right? Like, I don't know, was it all him? He's got two women in his life. He's got the one that we all see, right? Woo, so fine, so goddamn fine, right? Such delicate feet, I have no doubt, right? But then he's got another one too, right? And so I think it's the two of them, right? And he got his jollies, like seeing them, right? Bury me in sexual lust in New York and LA. Mm-hmm. All to try to get me to put my dick in my hand, to jerk off and be like turned on. Never succeeded. Right? Right? And so when I reveal myself, right, and he kept showing me visions of her, being a hooker, like getting fucked for money, right? Eventually I did. I started. Right? I made my sigil, right? I cast my sigil over your eye, right? If we just take this one as an example, that's a perfect example, right? Similar, not the same. And so I had a couple of them. I think the one, it was an 11. And I put awful shit on them. Awful shit. To poison her mind with notions of syphilis and HIV. Right? So, is that what you wanted? Pretty sure I fucking fucked up your mind too in the process. Right? Pretty funny, right? No free lunches in magic. That's the point. Right? That all this guy had to do, right, was pay me nothing. Right? I don't know what he expected to occur here. Right? Because, like, in fact, right, like, God willing, I don't have AIDS, right? And he's not going to be, like, vulgarly evil anymore. Right? And if that's true, right, then the only thing that's happened, right, is he's shown me a lot. Quite a lot. Not that I needed it. Right? Right? And so this is my point in my email when I say, right, he went so far. He went way too far. Right? Now it behooves him, right, to pay someone to watch me, right, or to have, right, because, right, we're mortal enemies. There's no other way to interpret that, right? He didn't do that, right? He didn't do that, right, to embrace me and say, I love you, brother. Right? Therefore, right, he did it with malice of forethought to make me miserable and to try to kill me. And so, right, that's my foundation. And it's granite, no sand, right? By his design, not by mine. Right? I fell in love because I was listening, right? Because I respect it, right? That's the truth, right? That's the honest truth, right? I turned my nose up and turned my back on him, right? Because I was following his lead, right? But then, like, as soon as I did it, I said, oh no, I know what he needed, right? And I wasn't respecting it, right? And I could say something else about him not respecting me, right? But it's his show, right? And so that's why I said, oh, I'm going to build you this planter. Like, I'll make it right. I'll make it right. Like, you keep the scene for free. Like, I'll do the movie for free, right? It's not about money, right? It's about me making it right with you, right? And so, right, when the woman was conjured into my mind, right, when the sick intellectual exercise began, I wanted to listen. I wanted to show him, oh, I'm listening. I respect you. I'm sorry about Tribeca. You know, I can, and this is always true, right? I can give you more than anyone else can. Right? I am a better actor than anyone else you considered, right? And that's true, right? But in his mind, he said, "Oh no, 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 no. The movies is about like telepathy, and David Mamet talks about it at the end of his masterclass." And so he didn't want to like play the telepathy game. He didn't want to give me, right? He didn't want to do what I wanted. And I had it, boom, right there. Right there. Just looking at it. Right? And so I would say that that's a two-way street. Right? Right? I was happy to give him whatever he wanted. Right? But then it was supposed to be different. Right? That I let him play his fucked up mind games all those months. Right? And there was more than one time where I felt like someone wanted me to choke on my food, right? Daniela, I don't know, but Daniela, for sure. Right? Right? Never, right? But then in that moment, right? Like you can, right? No, especially knowing, right, that if I do everything right, he's gonna keep playing his fucked up mind games for another 6 months, for another fucking year, right? That you can't give me, that you can't take my letter in that moment. You can't tell me what you want. You can't look me in the eye like a man, right? That's my point, right? And so now it's just evil. Right? I don't want to be anywhere near him. He doesn't want to be anywhere near me, right? But as far as our sanity, right? That if we don't come together, right, then that's what it is, right? And Quentin and everyone who's around him, right? They're all, right? And when I have money, right, I'll have my legion of clairvoyance, and I'll say, you all watch all these people all day. I'll let you decide how to do it. Just like he will with me. You know, that's just like he is doing with me right now. So, right? I don't really know what I want to play. Okay, I know what I'll play. Right? How does he do it? Life is not an accident, right? Life emerges out of a divine, abstract, intellectual principle, right? Which exerts pressure upon the manifold of space, right? Pre-Rubin Bohm's holographic model. Embedded within every cubic centimeter of space, in terms of information, lies the potential for all of manifested reality. Right? And so, the conscious field exerts pressure upon that hologram, collapsing it from the outside in, engendering electric resistance, until it can no longer remain in inert space and erupts into incandescence as matter. This is how everything comes into motion. Space and matter are equal opposites of each other, right? Matter comes through space, matter returns once more to space. Right? This is Russellian science, right? And so all instances of psychic phenomenon, right? Thaumaturgy, telepathy, remote viewing, all derive and operate on the fundamental resonance of their conscious mind, their conscious awareness, which is God's mind, right? Tapping into the non-locality of the conscious field, which permeates every cubic centimeter of space and exists perpetually in a state of rest. And so instances of psychokinesis, right? Instances of telepathy, instances of healing the sick, right? Instances of, right, of high evil, right, is the mind of the adept behaving like God, that they're exerting a pressure upon the firmament of space, right, and manipulating it to yield something novel thereby, right? Quentin Tarantino is a powerful psychic clairvoyant, right? I am the most powerful psychic clairvoyant of the millennial generation. The two of us have been embroiled in what has become the most legendary psychic siege of all time. 100%. Right? So, this channel exists to discuss it because I'm not a sick sorcerer, right? There's nothing wrong with being a psychic, right? It's a latent bandwidth that exists in every human, right? That we all have this predilection, right? That's like music. It's akin to music. So not everyone's a musician, but you understand what I'm saying, right? That there's no like secrets, right? Mysteries, right? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. If you know a thing, you can teach a thing, right? And so I've said for years that I'm a psychic clairvoyant, and now it behooves me to discuss it with the public at large, right? The highest levels of clairvoyance is often merely a hot reading or cold reading on some level. That it's the intuition, right? It's the seeing a shift in the eye, right? That's true. That's true, right? And of course, the very highest levels, right? The true zenith, right? If you're looking for someone, something, is a full color projection, holographic projection in your mind's eye. Right. So, right. Pray for me, pray for Quentin, pray to bring this to an amicable resolution. Right? Otherwise, he and I are mortal enemies. Nah, I don't want that. I'll never assume otherwise until we all have a nice coming to Jesus, a nice kumbaya powwow. Right? So, let me know what you think. It's been 10 long years since I left home, in the hollow where I was born, where the cool fall nights make the woods grow fast, and the fox blows his horn. I fell in love with a girl from the town, and I thought that she would be true. I ran away to Charlottesville, and words in a song or two. What happened out in your own place? Why did they tear down? And why did I leave the plow in the field and look for a job in town? Now the girl ran off with somebody else. Terrorists, they took all of my pay. And here I stand where the old home stood before they took it away. Now the geese fly south when the cold blows. As I sit here and I hang my head, I lost my home and I lost my girl. Now I wish that I was dead. What happened to your own place? Why did they tear down? And why did I leave the plow in the field and look for a job in town? And why did I leave the plow in the field and look for a job in town? See what's good in your life. Know that life is not an accident. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think. Have a good weekend. God bless.